there are some deep wounds that need to be addressed. And if you're watching this video, it's the same for you too. So don't beat yourself up if it's like, oh my God, there's so much more to heal. Like, it's a never-ending journey, honey. Like, we're all on it. There's always going to be something.
In this video, we're going to be getting to the core of those wounds, the mother wound. I feel like enough said when you say the mother wound, but we're going to be unraveling that, our own personal takes, our own stories, how we've put boundaries into place, and how we're no longer bypassing those wounds. So, if you're new here, my name is Jessy.
And my name is B, and we are so passionate about helping women heal themselves from the inside out. We use things like energy work, breath work, and conscious coaching. So if that sounds like a good time to you, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and stick around for more, baby girl.
All right. Like I said, mother wound. Whoo!
Yeah, it's the wound of all wounds.
It's the wound of all wounds.
And I always thought I had daddy issues, and it was like all about my dad. And maybe some of you can relate. Like, if your dad was really not great, then it's really easy to see your mom, especially if she's a single mom, which I grew up with a single mom. It's really easy to put her on this pedestal, like, oh, you're still here. You're still showing up for me. I love you so much. And to like really think about her as above and beyond. And while I still think about my mother as above and beyond, I love you, Mom, there are some things that I need to heal from in regards to my mom, and I guarantee you do as well.
Right. And same kind of experience, a little different, but for many, many years, I put my mom on this pedestal because my dad had kind of exiled me for coming out and being gay. And so it was really easy to put her on that pedestal, like, oh my God, my accepting parent, you know, she's an ally. She loves me for who I am. I can be myself around her. However, by placing her on that pedestal, I wasn't seeing all of these other things that were going on behind the scenes, and I wasn't able to unravel these deeper wounds, these childhood wounds.
I think like maybe in us, I mean, I think that you could definitely be like, I'm trying to think of like the avoidance of it all. Like, you could be avoiding this, like, oh, I'm like dealing with this pain, so like I'm avoiding this pain over here. Or it could just be like, this pain is so in my face, like my dad not being in my life consistently growing up and into adulthood, and now I don't even speak to him at all. That was so hurtful, like in the forefront, that I couldn't even see some stuff with my mom. Like, and this is not to blame parents. Like, parents, I believe everyone is doing the best with what they have at the time. So like, I try not to hold any resentments or grudges or anything like that. Like, my mom is a totally different person today than she was when I was growing up. Thank God, because she's so much like healthier mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. However, there are some deep wounds that need to be addressed. And if you're watching this video, it's the same for you too. So don't beat yourself up if it's like, oh my God, there's so much more to heal. Like, it's a never-ending journey, honey. Like, we're all on it. There's always going to be something.
Right. You're always going to uncover, like, and that's kind of been the theme for me as of late. Is I feel like I uncover one wound and then it leads to another, and then it leads to another and another and another. But patience is key, patience with yourself, and just realizing not all of this has to be handled immediately, you know, like there's times for processing and healing, and then there's times for just like settling and integrating it all.
Okay, so let's kind of go over maybe, I just kind of want to give like some different scenarios because I feel like some people can relate to certain scenarios. So like for those of us that have had mothers who were abused in childhood and who were traumatized and had PTSD and maybe were dealing with their stuff, with their healing or not when we were children, that takes an immense toll on a child. Like for me, that manifested in my mother being extremely depressed, being like on so many different meds that even like made her more depressed. And that really just sent a signal to me, my inner child, that like, okay, my dad is left, and then my mom is very emotionally distant, and she's not emotionally available for me. Even though she was physically present, she wasn't. I don't remember a lot of points of emotional connection as a young child. Not until I was a teenager, and then it was kind of like I was like battling an eating disorder, and like that just felt really like a connection sort of missed. So I just this is all to say, for those of you that have grown up with a mom or a parent, you know, just having like all of that stuff to work through, you can take on a lot that is not yours.
Right.
And you internalize that as a child. You just do, like, it happens. Even though children are resilient, we are, but like, you take on belief systems, energies, emotions that don't even belong to you. And I was in this illusion thinking that it was all my stuff, that I was so depressed, that I was so wounded, yada, yada, yada. And it wasn't mine.
Right. It makes up that's what we're talking about when we talk about the subconscious mind and how it follows you throughout your adult life. The things that you go through as a child and the things that you take on as a child are a part of your subconscious mind, your belief systems, your values. And you're really kind of untangling all of this in your adult life and trying to figure out, okay, let me trace this line back. Where did this come from? Where did this belief come from? Why am I so attached to this story? Things of that nature.
Right. Right. And then that's where, like you said, that's where your beliefs come from. So, like, I believed that a part of me was not worthy based off of my dad and also certain things, you know, that my mom wasn't available for. So that created that belief in me, that subconscious belief. It was, like, very subconscious. I wasn't, like, thinking about, oh, I'm not worthy. That's really not how it works. So then you get older, and then you see how that manifests in different areas of your life. For me, the most standout area was relationships. Attracting really terrible people, but not even terrible people. I'm not going to blame them. People that treated me the way that I treated myself. People that treated me in the ways that were in alignment with, Brianna, you are not worthy. So then, of course, that gets reflected back to me.
Right. And then, you know, the model that you had as a child as well, you know, like I feel like that was kind of my case. I didn't have a healthy model. And these wounds from childhood really did affect my relationships as well. That was like the core thing that I have realized now that I'm in a healthy relationship, just how I was attracting all of these really toxic ones and settling for people who didn't even deserve to be at the same table as me. And yeah, it's heavy. It's deep. It goes really deep.
If you can relate, let us know in the comments and let other people know, because it's important that we all know that we're not alone, because I think I know that I felt very lonely growing up, and I didn't understand like why I felt so alone and lonely and wounded. And like, if you can let someone else know that, like, hey, like, it's not like misery loves company, but it's like just being honest and transparent. Like, hey, I'm struggling with this too, or I have struggled with this too. It can inspire someone else and help them feel like less alone. And that's like also a part of our mission, I feel like, is helping people, particularly women, like feel like they're not alone in what they're going through, because we're all connected.
We're all connected, and we're all the same. Like, I know we have different lived experiences, but we have a lot of the same lived experiences and things that from childhood that we went through that are very similar. Like, we're really not that different. There's maybe just like 1 degree of difference between all of us.
Yeah.
We're so connected. There's so many things. If you just sat down and talked to somebody who's like polar opposite than you would realize that you have more in common together than you don't have in common.
Yeah, it's true. And the other point that I wanted to bring up is that when you heal the mother wound, it sounds so like deep.
It is.
But it is. But it's not really about your mom. It's about nurturing your inner child. I think that that's been the most powerful stuff, and it gets me like a little emotional. But when I go back and heal that inner child and tell her, oh my God, it's not yours to take on.
Mm-hmm.
Your mom is depressed not because of you. It's not your job to make your mom happy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Right.
If you can cultivate that trust and that love and that care and that safety with your inner child, and then you tell her things like that, she'll start to believe you.
Mm-hmm. And it just feels like a release. You're just able to release that. Like, okay, I don't have to carry this anymore. I think that, something that I kind of realized recently was I was in between two parents who were fighting for me all the time. And it was a really confusing place to be because I'm being told one thing by one parent, one thing by another. And then I kind of realized why in my adult life, I had such a hard time making decisions, or I would kind of follow what my partner wanted because I was so used to just like carrying out orders, from my parents. Like, okay, I'm going to say what you want to hear. Okay, now I'm going to say what you want to hear. And yeah, I realize that now was something that I was carrying out in my adult relationships.
Yeah, that's really powerful. And also like a testament, because you don't do that at all anymore.
No, I'm very much in my power. I have boundaries. I communicate. That was something that I also really struggled with as well. It didn't only affect the way that I made decisions, but it affected the way I communicated. It was like I felt like I couldn't, like I was so blocked. It was like I actually don't know what I want. I actually don't know what I want because for so long I was being told what I should want.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can rewrite the story at any point, whether you're 18, whether you're 30, whether you're 80, you can choose to rewrite the story and totally shift your reality. That's just the way it is. You are more powerful than you know. The other thing that I wanted to say about like healing the mother wound is that as you get older, you get into adulthood, some light bulbs start going off. You're like, ooh. I think a big theme for us was like boundaries with our moms.
Yes, boundaries.
Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Boundaries.
Boundaries. And recently I had to create a very firm boundary, which was very difficult for me. It's very difficult because I've never kind of, like I said, guys, in the beginning, I had placed my mom on this pedestal for so many years, and I was still kind of playing out that childhood role of telling her what she wanted to hear, like agreeing with her all of the time. And then I kind of changed that up when I stopped attaching to that story, right, from childhood, and I started forming my own opinion and being totally authentic and honest with the way that I felt, and that wasn't received well. So then in turn I had to put a hard boundary, like I actually can't communicate with you anymore because there is some deep healing that needs to take place, and until that happens, like I can't have you in my life. As painful as that is, I can't have you in my life, and that's just a hard boundary for me. So cutting off that communication, like I said, it's not that this was easy, but I feel like I'm talking to somebody out there. If you're on the fence, maybe you have this like belief that like, oh my God, I'm always supposed to obey my parents and do what they want. Bring it back to yourself. Like I think the most radical act of self-love is choosing yourself even when it comes to your parents.
Yeah, when it's really hard. And you feel conflicted inside. And so I also had to set boundaries with my mom, but not as like extreme as a cutoff with Jessy. Like gratefully, my mom is very open and receptive and learning to, I think that we've actually really influenced her. I know that we have, learning to really like love herself and care for herself and honor herself. So she's not the best with boundaries. And when someone isn't the best with boundaries, like with other people, and then they're in their life, then that impacts other people in her life. Like it's totally like a domino effect. And so I had to state my boundaries, and I tried to state them, you know, and I sugarcoated it, and I realized like I was really holding back a lot, and I don't really do that with any other area of my life. I'm pretty direct and straightforward. I've learned to be that way over the years. But with my mom, I was still kind of like showing up as like a lower version of myself, or not a lower version, but like an older version of myself. I still love her.
I feel like you were actually kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, but I kind of feel like you were showing up as the child version of yourself. Not like this old version of yourself,
right.
but this,
Well,
let me tiptoe around your emotions, right?
yeah.
Let me tiptoe around your emotions. I feel like I have to carry your emotions. I have to like cater to your emotions. And so I'm going to sugarcoat everything. And because I really don't want to hurt your feelings, and I know that, you know, you're sensitive, but I think that it was the childhood version of you that comes out when you go to set a boundary.
So this is a perfect example of how great of a coach she is because I did not really connect those dots, but that's 100% it. I was showing up as the child version of B who felt like it was not my job, but I felt like I took on the job of taking care of my mom's emotions and coddling her, and oh my God, I just want mama to be happy, and like, please just be happy, and like, I just want you to be happy, and so like, I'm gonna do whatever it is to like make you happy. I'm gonna get like the good grades, I'm gonna be quiet, like whatever you need. Like my brother was like a little wild and out there and crazy, like I was very reserved and just like perfect, and like, okay, my room's gonna be great, like everything's gonna be great. And so like that's kind of how I showed up to that conversation. And then after this retreat,
you stepped into this new version of yourself. It was no longer that child part coming out.
Yeah.
Like you had healed that. And I really feel like you transformed from that experience. And then you showed up, you were very much in your power, and the outcome couldn't have been more beautiful.
Oh, she doesn't need me to sugarcoat anything. She is good. And it was so good for my inner child to like witness all of that happening. But my inner child, the only reason she allowed my higher self to really communicate in that second conversation about boundaries is because I had developed that trust and safety with her. So she was able to take a back seat and then still like view everything like, okay, is everything good? You know, I could feel her right there, like, you know, my throat was like, but I was still in my power, and I was being very direct, and I was using my voice, and I was kind of speaking like lower and louder. Like I felt very powerful, not mean, not aggressive, just very in my power. And I even saw my mom's reaction to that, and it was a little, you know, like this is a new way B is talking to me, and it was a new way for me to be in my body, but it felt really good. And my inner child trusted that, and she witnessed that. So allow that relationship to develop. Like that's the biggest thing I think with the mother wound. Like develop a relationship with your inner child, heal all of those parts, heal the inner teenager. I mean, this is a lifelong journey too.
It's literally every age, to be honest. It's every age that you kind of have to go through.
Yeah. It can be done.
It can be done. We are living testaments, and I also just want to reflect too. Like, I think the main difference too. Yes, you were in your power, but you were so grounded.
I was.
It wasn't like this, because I'm very sensitive to energy, and I can feel when she's super anxious. Like I feel like I can feel it, and I'm just like, okay, something's going on with her. I feel it. But it wasn't that. I remember coming downstairs, they were already having a conversation, and you were so grounded. You were so grounded, very much in your power, and just like calm. You were calm. It was like a quiet, confident power.
So if I can do it, you can do it too, because that was not me a few days ago. It just wasn't.
You're like me, and you've had to place a very firm boundary, and you've had to cut off a parent, and this is the first time, or maybe it's like been a couple times. We're here to support you. I know how difficult it can be, so please feel free to reach out to us for that support, to heal your inner child, to connect the dots, to heal that mother wound. Ultimately, it's going to start with you. And if you like this video, make sure that you like it, hit the subscribe button, and stay tuned for more. And as always,
take what you need, leave the rest, and go love yourself.